morning, everybody. Welcome to our second virtual story time with this new way of doing things. I have four stories for you today, and they're all a little different. We're almost at the end of January, so it's time for some Groundhog Day and some new funny things. We're going to start with The Mitten, which I'm sure is a favorite. This is by Jan Brett, and if you ever check out one of her books, you'll notice that she also tells the story in the side with pictures. So they're really fun to look at. Once, there was a boy named Nicky who wanted his new mittens made from wool as white as snow. At first, his grandmother, Baba, did not want to knit white mittens. If you drop one in the snow, she warned, you'll never find it. But Nicky wanted snow white mittens, and finally, Baba. After she finished, she said, when you come home, first I will look to see if you are safe and sound. Then I will look to see if you still have your snow white mittens. So off Nicky went, and it wasn't long until one of his new mittens dropped in the snow. A mole, tired from tunneling along, discovered the mitten. He burrowed inside. It was cozy and warm and just the right size, so he decided to stay. A snowshoe rabbit came hopping by. He stopped for a moment to admire his winter coat. It was then that he saw the mitten, and he wiggled in, feet first. The mole didn't think there was room for both of them, but when he saw the rabbit's big kickers, he moved over. Next, a hedgehog came snuffling along. Having spent the day looking under wet leaves for things to eat, he decided to move into the mitten and warm himself. The mole and the rabbit were bumped and jostled, but not being ones to argue with someone covered with prickles, they made room. As soon as the hedgehog disappeared into the mitten, a big owl, attracted by the commotion, swooped down. When he decided to move in also, the mole, the rabbit, and the hedgehog grumbled. But when they saw the owl's glinty talons, they quickly let him in. Up through the snow appeared a badger. He eyed the mitten and began to climb in. The mole, the rabbit, the hedgehog, and the owl were not pleased. There was no room left, but when they saw his diggers, they gave him the thumb. It started snowing, but the animals were snug in the mitten. A waft of warm steam rose in the air, and a fox trotting by stopped to investigate. Just the sight of the cozy mitten made him feel drowsy. The fox poked his muzzle in. When the mole, the rabbit, the hedgehog, the owl, and the badger saw his shiny teeth, they gave the fox lots of room. A great bear lumbered by. He spied the mitten all plumped up. Not being one to be left out in the cold, he began to nose his way in. The animals were packed in as tightly as could be, but what animal would argue with a bear? The mitten swelled and stretched. It was pulled and bulged to many times its size, but Baba's good knitting held fast. Along came a meadow mouse, no bigger than an acorn. She wriggled into the one space left and made herself comfortable on top of the great bear's nose. The bear, tickled by the mouse's whiskers, gave an enormous sneeze. Achoo! The force of the sneeze shot the mitten up into the sky and scattered the animals in all directions. On his way home, Nicky saw a white shape in the distance. It was the lost mitten, silhouetted against the blue sky. As he ran to catch his snow white mitten, he saw Baba's face in the window. First, she looked to see if he was safe and sound. Then she saw that he still had his new mitten. I'll make sure you can see this picture, but one of the mittens is definitely different than the other. One is sized for Nicky's hand, and the other one is much, much bigger. Can you guess what happened to that? So that is the end of the mitten, and there are several books along the same storyline that you guys might enjoy by Jan Brett. Here is another favorite. I know some of you love this book called If You Give a Mouse a Cookie. This is by Laura Numera. If you give a mouse a cookie, he's going to ask for a glass of milk. When you give him the milk, he'll probably ask you for a straw. When he's finished, he'll ask for a napkin. Then he'll want to look in a mirror to make sure he doesn't have a milk mustache. When he looks into the mirror, he might notice his hair needs a trim. So he'll probably ask for a pair of nail scissors. When he's finished giving himself a trim, he'll want a broom to sweep up. He'll start sweeping. He might get carried away and sweep every room in the house. He may even end up washing the floors himself. When he's done, he'll probably want to take a nap. You'll have to fix up a little box for him with a blanket and a pillow. He'll crawl in, make himself comfortable, and fluff the pillow a few times. He'll probably ask you to read him a story. So you'll read to him from one of your books, and he'll ask to see the pictures. When he looks at the pictures, he'll get so excited, he'll want to draw one of his own. He'll ask for paper and crayons. He'll draw a picture. When the picture is finished, he'll want to sign his name with a pen. Then he'll want to hang his picture on your refrigerator, which means he'll need Scotch tape. He'll hang up his drawing to stand back and look at it. Looking at the refrigerator will remind him that he's thirsty. So he'll ask for a glass of milk. And chances are, if he asks for a glass of milk, he's going to want a cookie to go with it. I love this last picture in this book because it shows the mouse really wore the little boy out because he had to clean up after the mouse was cleaning up, right? I bet you're all really good helpers at your home, too. Now, this is a new book to the library. It's not even cataloged yet, brand new. There are actually 3 of these, so I will do a different one each week until we've read all 3. But this is called This Is Not My Hat by John Clayton. And I will make sure the pictures are up on the screen for you to look at while I read this book. The pictures are very important to this story. This hat is not mine. I just stole it. I stole it from a big fish. He was asleep when I did it. And probably he won't wake up for a long time. And even if he does wake up, he probably won't notice that it's gone. And even if he does notice that it's gone, he probably won't know it was me that took it. And even if he does guess it was me, he won't know where I am going. But I will tell you where I'm going. I am going where the plants grow big and tall and close together. It is very hard to see in there. Nobody will ever find me. There is someone who saw me already, but he said he wouldn't tell anyone which way I went. So I am not worried about that. I know it's wrong to steal a hat. I know it does not belong to me, but I am going to keep it. It was too small for him anyway. It fits me just right. And look, I made it! Where the plants are big and tall and close together. I knew I was going to make it. Nobody will ever find me. Hard to see in all of that seaweed. Oh, and here's the next picture. No word. And I'll make sure you can see it on the screen. Well, the big fish has his hat back. I wonder what happened. I think these books are really fun. They show very simply that it's just not okay to steal things, is it? So This one is fun. I hope you enjoyed the pictures. And our last story for today is called Groundhog's Runaway Shadow. Now, on February 2nd is Groundhog Day, and it's not really a holiday. It's exactly 6 weeks before the first day of spring, and so we know we already have 6 more weeks until spring because that's what the calendar always says. But if Puxatawny Phil in Pennsylvania sees his shadow, it means we'll have 6 more weeks of winter or winter weather. And if he doesn't see his shadow and he stays up and out of his hole, then we're supposed to be having an early spring. So I don't know which it will be. We will find out on Tuesday, February 2nd. But we're going to read this story called Groundhog's Runaway Shadow by David Beardrzicki. I'm not sure how to say his name. The only thing that could keep up with little Phil Groundhog was his shadow. No matter how fast he ran or how high he jumped, his shadow followed his every move. Whether he laughed or cried, his shadow was always right there beside him. Even when Phil felt small, his shadow could make him feel bigger. And he's singing a song, Pretty Hippos Out Walking with Gorillas Down My Street. But everyone grows up, even groundhogs and their shadows. Grown-up groundhogs are expected to act a certain way, but Phil's shadow had other plans. Phil's idea of the perfect vacation was taking the bus to the local beach. Shadow dreamed of faraway places. Phil loved scary movies. Shadow, not so much. Phil enjoyed eating dandelions, clover, and tree bark. Shadow craved something spicy. Phil liked to be on time. Shadow liked to stop and smell the roses. At first, Phil found Shadow's behavior amusing, but a little off-key. Phil's friends found it amazing and a little gross. But soon it got annoying and then downright embarrassing. Phil had enough. Why can't you be like other shadows? I wish you would just go away. Shadow was crushed. He got angry, but then he thought about it. Phil said he should go away, and he had always wanted to travel. So at night, the next morning, and a couple of days later, and into the following week, that's exactly what he did. Back at home, Phil tried everything to find Shadow. Oh, Shadow, where are you? He posted signs. He used the newspaper. Then he saw Shadow making news. Through his shadow seen at Eiffel Tower. Without him, suddenly Phil's life seemed pretty dull. He longed to be exploring with Shadow. Halfway around the world, Shadow realized something was missing. He had no one to share in his adventure. The thought of searching for Shadow scared Phil silly. He'd have to travel far and wide. But the next morning, and a couple of days later, and into the following week, exactly what he did. He searched and searched and searched some more. Finally, when he could search no longer, he had an idea. He began to play. This instrument is called an accordion. And when he did, he heard someone gently accompanying him. The two friends played together, this time in perfect harmony. And the next morning, and a couple of days later, and forever after, that's exactly what they did. Except sometimes on February 2nd. And the shadow was visible. Hope you've enjoyed our story time today, and I will look forward to hearing from you what stories you like, and if you have any requests, go ahead and send me an email, charitonlibrarykids@gmail.com, and tell me what you'd like to hear, and I will see you next week.